Hello, hello. My late night. This is late night with ReRe. Welcome. Tonight on this, as we wind down and we get closer to the end of the month, I want to do something called What If. And just like I've always wanted on my channel, I want it to be a place of safety. I want it to be a place where free thinkers come. I don't want it to be a place where everybody thinks like me, or we have the same perceptions, or we have the same outlooks on life. I love the variety. That's why I love nights like last night, where I have Nanya, and you have Deontay, and you have O'Neal, and you have Vaughn. All very um, different point of views, some similarities, but at the end of the day, everyone is true to themselves at their core. And that's what makes these country Wayne streets so beautiful. It's the fact that we think differently and we can speak freely and still be looking at the exact same screen, the exact same actors and actresses, and see different things. Tonight, I want to talk though a little bit about one of my favorite movies. It's called A Time to Kill. And I thought about this movie and I tied in at the end as I'm watching the different skits, and especially the main skit. Time to Kill was out, I think it was in the late 80s or early 90s. It was with Samuel L. Jackson, Matthew McConaughey with his fine self. And it was a story. I believe it was in Mississippi, of a little girl who was assaulted by this Asian man. He had no remorse. And traditionally, even though this was not back in slavery times or anything like that, this was a very racist town. And what makes the movie stick in my brain, I love the art of theater. I love the art of acting. I love the movies. You can get me if it's a deep movie. I love Gone with the Wind. I just love a movie with a good plot, with a good theme, and tells a story. And most of all, what I want to do on my channel is make you think different, make you think out of a different lens. So in this particular movie, it's not about the main character. I would say the writers don't want you to focus on the little girl who was assaulted, or the father who retaliated because he felt like nothing would be done, that these people just get away with it because of the color of his daughter's skin and the color of her skin. It's not about the lawyer who took on a case that was so controversial that it put his life and his family on the line. The story boils down to perception, looking at things differently. Samuel L. Jackson had a jury of his peers, all white. He was a black man, older black man. I would say he was middle class, borderline, maybe a little bit up under middle class, poor. Not poor, but they had what they needed to sustain life. He was a hard-working man. And he just didn't see how justice would be done. Even though there was a black cop, I think it's Charles Dutton played the head cop, even though he was black. This was rural, racist town with a jury of his peers, all white. And at the end of that movie, it all came together. That thing that grabbed my attention was think different. Think different. You have all the facts. Those jurors had all the facts of the case and what happened. And in the midst of that, another caveat to this particular case was not just that he avenged his daughter's essay, but he also accidentally shot a cop who's also his best friend. It was an accident, but it left him paralyzed, and he could have died. So that was another charge. So many different things happen in this movie. So many different pivotal points that you could take from it if you're looking at it through different lenses. That cop who was paralyzed, and it was the part I was a militant. Y'all ain't gonna lie, I was militant when I watched this movie. Amen. He stood up and he said, "You let him loose." Because he understood as a father why he did what he did. But yet and still, there still was a big chance that he was going to get the book thrown at him. If not for avenging his daughter and killing that other man, or unaliving the other man. I don't want to get no stripes or nothing. In addition to all of that, whoever wrote this movie at the end brought it all together by making you think different. And those of you who watched the movie, you know what happened. All the facts were given. They were looking at him like they wanted to crucify him, nail him to the cross. And then Matthew said, "Close your eyes. Walk through these steps of this young girl being attacked, assaulted. Think about what was going through her father's head that he was going to give us. Think about these things. But I want you to focus on this little girl." He said, "Then imagine she's white." And at that moment, even if you're black watching the movie, or you were watching the movie, it's like a bell went off. I don't care what color you were, you imagine that little girl being white and how different this case would have been handled if it was a black man and a little white child. I want to tie this into the skits. With the skits, especially the main one, and I'm sorry, it's the main one, it's the one to keep our attention. Even last night on the live, a lot of people say, "Oh, Shayla's been coddled her whole life. Oh, Shayla's just another gold digger. Shayla is a product of her mother and her mother's, devilish ways, and her mother teaching her how to use her body to do this, that, and the third. This is a product of that. Nothing's wrong with her. Or if there is something wrong with her, she's just another woman just, out for the bag. She's just being coddled. She's just being comforted. She's just being," what I heard, and even in the comments, what I keep hearing is, "Oh, she's just a gold digger. Oh, she needs her karma." And she does. I keep saying it. She absolutely deserves what she's getting. But I want to talk about something a little bit deeper. What if, think about everything she's done to Iman. Think about not letting him go. Not letting him leave the house. Popping up at his house. Forcing herself on him. Telling him you're not going nowhere. Taking his shoes. Jumping in his car, taking his keys. Running after him in the house. What if Shayla was a man? If Shayla was a man, would we say he was just being emotional? Would we just say he is a little bit delusional? Would we say he he was out to get her body, or would we be so lighthearted with this if she was a man? We look at Iman, and yeah, he's 6'4", and he's basketball player, and he can handle himself. He's a man, right? If Iman, Mana, what if it was a woman? What if it was a man doing these same things that Shayla's doing? Will we take it more serious? Would we fear or help Imana, out of the situation? Or would we say, oh, she must like it because she messing with the friends, so she must like it? Would we get police involved? If it was a man at Wayne's house last night, popping up, demanding that that woman leave, would he have been protective of her? Would they have told her, hey, even if they didn't do anything, would they have made jokes? Would they have laughed it off? Or would Wayne have called the police? Would they say he needs some help? What I'm trying to say in this is the what if. A lot of times women are looked at as emotional beings, emotional creatures, or just this PMS, or they're just a gold digger. She just wants to be possessive of him. She just wants to secure the bag. What if something's really wrong with her? More and more in the news, we're seeing women who go through things like what's going through. Again, I say it over and over again. These skits are not just make believe. This stuff happening in real life. Why does it take a female unaliving her significant other, herself, or her child for it to be taken serious? Something is wrong. And it don't have to be trauma from the past. It don't even have to be mental illness. It could be she's just a narcissist. But we don't take it serious because she's a female. Would you look at this differently? And I'm not saying from a sympathetic standpoint. I'm from an action place. Why is everybody taking it so lightly that nothing's wrong? She just wants to secure the bag. She's just being obsessive and stalkerish. Women unalive their partners because nobody takes it serious because it's a woman. There are women who physically abuse. You think about how she treated Anthony. Of course, Anthony wouldn't tell anybody that. He doesn't want anybody to know how bad he was emasculated. How Angelina even punched, did the forehead thing. No man wants to talk about that. But what happens when that woman escalates? We have to start having real conversations, thinking differently, and not just surface value. The show snapped. There are women doing this, y'all. And we laughing at it. Oh, it was funny last night, I ain't gonna lie. When he said he's at home with my wife. That was funny to me. Wayne was it was funny. But if that was a man who came into his house and crashed out like that over a woman, would we not protect that woman? And I believe that Iman is getting his take and eating it too. I do believe it. I think if he could go into a poly relationship, he would. But what if him being safe and sparing her feelings and not going all in costs him the ultimate price? And we know this not real, but it's happening in real life. We laughing it off. We chalking it up to crazy girlfriend who's never had consequences. Crazy girlfriend who's never went through anything. Crazy girlfriend who her mom always protected her. But if it was a man, would we use that same terminology? We got to start thinking differently, people. And that's the only thing I ask. Some people will say, "Oh, ReRe, you nice and you got a big heart and you've been through some things and that's why you think like you think." No. I think of out of the lens and eyes of everybody's different. I think of out of the mental that there may be more to the story. And some people call it overthinking. And I won't lie and say that I don't overthink sometimes. But there comes a point where we simply have to think or rethink how we see things. Or even further, thinking about this particular topic, I even thought about what if Anthony and Shayla had an affair? Or if we make it business partner, Anthony and Ro, let's say they didn't get together before. Anthony and Ro slept with each other, dealt with each other up until the morning of Anthony's wedding. Let that sink in. Anthony and Ro slept with each other. I'm not talking about flirted with each other. They slept with each other up until the day of the wedding. While Amber, regardless of how she felt about Wayne or anybody else, while Amber stayed faithful to him, while Amber sacrificed for him, and he was having an affair with Rolanda the whole time. Would you look at this storyline differently? If the table reversed and it was the man cheating before the day of the wedding, would we have the same empathy and sympathy and forgiveness? And let's say Dalen knew about Anthony cheating with Ro the entire time. Taylor knew about it. Dalen kept telling him, "Hey, you don't need to mess with Ro. Amber a queen, man. You don't need to mess with Ro. Amber a queen. Amber a good woman." And he starts to, in his mind, fall in love with Amber. He don't want a good woman to go to waste. Just think about it, y'all. I'm not trying to change your mind about what you think about nothing, but I'm just saying, would the perception change? Dalen seen a good woman in Amber, and he pursued her, and in the midst of everything, they end up crossing the line. Even though Anthony been a good husband, Anthony didn't cheat after that morning of. He been a great husband. Amber knows nothing about. She knows nothing about him messing with Ro up until the day of their wedding. He never confesses it. But Dalen, as he falls deeper in love with her, Dalen one day tells her, as she's about to end it all, "You think Anthony's such a good husband. You think Anthony's so good. But Anthony was with Ro up until the day of the wedding." Would we look at this differently? Be honest with yourself. And I'm a woman. But I know that sometimes men are treated differently. Men are given a pass where women are not, and vice versa. Right is right and wrong is wrong. But would you look at it differently if Dalen, the man, was the one saying, I seen a queen in you, Amber, and he had the affair with Amber? Not Shayla seeing a king in Anthony saying it's right. Both of them are wrong. But do we treat men and women differently in these situations? Would we have been quicker to forgive Dalen because he was a man and he seen a queen in Amber? Would we look at that differently? And I'm not asking you to pick a side. I'm just asking you to think different. Would you? And if Amber accidentally, she got pregnant in the midst of that by Dalen, would Anthony have ever forgiven her? Would Anthony accept his godson and stay married to Amber? These are the things we have to consider, or we have to think about, even when we think about forgiving people in our own personal lives. What if you were the weak one and they weren't, or vice versa? We giving Shayla a pass, and when I say we, I'm speaking loosely. We giving her a pass for acting like she's acting because she's a woman. She's just an emotional woman. Ain't nothing wrong with Shayla. She just been coddled. Ain't nothing wrong with Shayla. She just has never had consequences. Would we say that if a man held a woman hostage in a house and told her she wasn't leaving? If he took shoes, if he took her keys and said you ain't going nowhere, would we take it more serious if Shayla was a man? Would we be as forgiving? Or would we hate Dalen as much as we hate Shayla? Some people will say, yeah, it's the same. I wouldn't think no different. You a lie. If it was Dalen saying, I went after your wife, you my homeboy, but I went after your wife because I seen a queen in her, would we give Dalen a pass? Would we? Would we just hate him forever? Because think about it. Anthony would roll up until the day of the wedding. And some people will get this message and still twist it like I'm trying to make you like Shayla. Instead of trying to think. That's why I said, like Pastor Mike say, only 3 of you go get it. We don't take this situation with Shayla's mental, with her actions seriously because she's a woman. We don't think anything's wrong because she's a woman. And of course, a woman can't stalk or be emotionally abusive to a man, right? Right? She just emotional gold. And of course, a man, because he's having intercourse with her, he's in control. Is Iman really in control? If he was a woman, would we call him a victim? Or would we call him a player? We call him a player because he's a man. He truly a victim of Shayla. And if Shayla hurts him, if she hurts her child, if she hurts herself, in the real world, this happens. What will people say when the signs were there all the time that something was wrong with her? As we can look at these skits, all Auntie ReRe has asked you is to think different, look different. You might have the same conclusion you have now. I'm not trying to change your mind. I'm saying close your eyes on some of these skits. Listen to what she's saying. Listen to her behaviors. And then imagine she's doing this. Would we get the cops involved? Nobody's even went to Angelina to say your daughter is spiraling out of control. If your mom go to her and say that, Angelina gonna look at her crazy because she a woman, or she may not. But everybody's laughing, joking. Oh, Shayla crazy. Even Honeypot. Oh, yeah, I didn't know she was this deep. I didn't know she was this delusional. I didn't know she was this, that. If she was a man, would people act quicker? I implore you, if there's a woman, if you're a man out there, and there's a woman in your life that's treating you like Shayla's treating mine, don't take it lightly. Something is wrong. It's not okay. It's not simple gold digging. People say she don't want to lose the bag. She done had ballers before. She done had men with money before. This is not about money. It's about a disconnect up here. Men get beat too by women. The woman don't have to be, what's her name, Clarissa Shields, and knock people out. There's mental abuse. And there is, in some cases, physical abuse. But what if Shayla was a man? Would we take this, her mental state, her potentially violent state, would we take it more seriously if she were a man? We get the cops involved. We get doctors involved. Or would we say, oh, he just, his dad and them, they just been taking care of him his whole life. He just ain't never had no consequences. Is that what we would say? And again, Auntie just saying, think different. The level, you can't even go home. The man said, I just want to go home and be at my house. We know he lying. But the fact you won't even let him go home, that's disturbing. And we got to, in 2026, stop letting one abuse be greater than the other when it's the same actions. If a woman slap a man or a man slap a woman, it's still a slap. It's still abuse. And y'all have no idea how many men may be suffering in silence. This is real life. Yeah, he big, he tall. He could take her. He could just move her out the way. But what if he feels in a corner and he has to fight back and he end up doing something? Then he wrong. And all these people seeing the signs and they laughing. I missed the bullet. This has been What If by ReRe. This has been Think Different. Late night Think Different. Late night What If. If Shayla was a man, would we be so passive with her actions? Or would we take action to get her some help or get that man help? Yes, he's playing a game. Yes, he wants his cake and eat it too. But he's told his woman several times, I don't want you. How many women have told a man, I don't want you. I don't want to be with you. And he did the same thing Shayla did. Ultimately took her life. think different, you guys. That's all I ask. This has been Late Night with ReRe. And if one person thought different tonight about the seriousness of mental illness, the seriousness of stalking, the seriousness of abuse, emotional and physical, whether it's a man or a woman. We throw up the word narcissist a lot. There are female narcissists just like there are male narcissists. But we don't talk about the females often. Females, we're just emotional, right? We got to think different so everybody gets help. We got to start having healing, loving relationships. And we got to start identifying what love is not. My camera keep freezing. And I don't know how this video come out. But I hope it helps somebody. And if you're a man in this situation, or ladies, if you see men be acting or being treated like Shayla is treating Iman, he ain't no victim. That clear that up once of all. He ain't no victim at all. This behavior is not normal. He could ultimately control it and walk away. What makes this sinister and not just he not the victim is because he's he's an antagonist in the story. But that's not always the case. So this has been After the ReRe. I'm a little blue thing. I'm out. Be blessed and think different. That's all I ask. Have a great day. But not great day. It's nighttime. Good night and have a blessed day tomorrow. Good night. I'm gonna learn how to end the live.